Hello everyone, today I'll be talking about riddles. So in this video, we're gonna talk about what a riddle is, its different types, how we can solve riddles, and how they can actually help us think while having fun. So first, what exactly is a riddle? A riddle is a tricky question or a statement that makes you think hard before you can find the answer. It often uses clever or confusing language, so to solve it, you usually have to think creatively or look at the question in a different way. This is what people mean when they say you have to think outside of the box. So some riddles are also meant to be funny, not only due to challenge your brain, but they can also make you laugh. So now, let's talk about the characteristics of a riddle. So a riddle is like a puzzle made of words. It is like someone asks a mysterious or clever question, and then someone else tries to guess the answer. Riddles use imagery, which means they describe things in a creative or in a poetic way. Sometimes they don't make sense at first, but if you think about the words carefully, you'll start to see what they're trying to say. So some riddles are simple yet fun, while others are deep and challenging. But in all cases, riddles now are made to challenge your minds. So there are two basic types of riddles. First, we have enigmas. These use metaphorical or allegorical language. That means they often describe things in a creative or symbolic ways. So to solve them, you have to think more creatively. So we have here an example. So here is a statement. If the sun sets, a flower garden, but if you look at after dawn, an empty garden. So what is it? So the answer of this are the sky. So let me explain on why it is the answer. So, diba, in the statement, when the sun sets, the sky is full of beautiful colors like red, orange, and purple, which makes it look like a flower garden in the sky. But after dawn, or in the morning, the sky is usually just blue and looks empty without those bright colors. So the riddle here is comparing the sky to a garden, and that is why the answer is the sky. The second is conundrums. So conundrums are riddles that use wordplay or puns. These are usually funnier and play with how words sound or have double meanings. So for example, what flowers can be found between your nose and chin? The answer of this are tulips or tulips. This riddle is playing with the sound of the word tulips and tulips, as diba, the space between our nose and the chin is your mouth, and your mouth has a tulips. Now, if you say tulips out loud, it sounds just like tulips, which is a type of a flower. So the riddle is a fun pun on words, and that is why the answer of this are tulips or tulips. So now, let's learn how to solve riddles. So our riddles are not just about guessing, they also need a careful thinking. So we have here a 5 simple steps that we can follow on solving riddles. So first, we have know what type of a riddle it is. So it could be an enigma or a conundrum. Second is think about the clues in the riddle. So here is that you don't actually or can only focus on the surface meaning of that riddle. Third is that don't guess too quickly. So some riddles are designed to fool you if you answer too fast. Fourth is that be flexible. Try to look at the riddle in different ways. 5. Watch out for tricks. So many riddles use words that have more than one meaning to confuse you. Now, let's apply these tips to a few examples. So here is an example of an enigma. So the statement here are, I have cities but no houses. I have forest but no trees. I have rivers but no water. What am I? So let us look at the clues here on this statement. So we have the cities with no houses, forests with no trees, rivers with no water. So hearing from that, it doesn't sound real, right? But think it again. What shows all these things but doesn't really have them? So the answer of this is a map. So diba, a map shows a cities, forests, and rivers, but it's just paper. There are no real houses, trees, or water in it. This riddle, diba, trick us into thinking of a real places, but the answer is something that represent them naman di ay. So that is. Now, we have a conundrum example. The statement here is, what has four wheels and flies? At first, diba, you might think of something that flies in the air, like a plane. But, diba, most of planes don't have exactly four wheels. So, let us look at the word flies naman. Again, it could also mean, diba, an insect, not flying in the air, but the little bugs. So now think, what has four wheels and usually has flies around it? So the answer of this are the garbage truck. So diba, a garbage truck, it has four wheels, and because of the trash inside of that garbage truck, flies are often flying around it. So this is a perfect example of a conundrum as it uses example of a word trick. So the riddle uses flies to make you think of one meaning, but the real answer uses another. Here is one more enigma example. So the statement is, the more you take, the more you leave behind. So what am I? So let's break it down first. So the more you take something, the more you leave behind. At first, you might think about an objects like money or things in your bag, but that doesn't make sense here. Think about walking. So when you take steps, diba, what do you leave behind? So the answer is footsteps. So the more steps you take, the more footprints you leave. So the riddles play with actions, not an objects. So those are some of the example of a riddle, no? So now naman, let's talk about why riddles are useful in learning. So our riddles are not only meant to be fun, naman, diba? They help us grow us in many ways. So first, riddles help us understand a language better. This is called meta-linguistic awareness. It means you learn how words work and how they can have more than one meaning. This teaches students about homophones, words that sound the same but mean different things. You can also challenge students here to make their own riddles using homophones to get even better at using language. So second, riddles help us think better in math. They improve analytic and proven skills. Third, riddles help improve focus and interpretation. Riddles train us to read between the lines. This means we'll learn to look for hidden meanings and not just read what it has been written. It helps us understand text more deeply, a useful skill in all subjects. So fourth, riddles help us learn new words. They use fun language like puns, metaphors, or poetic phrases that make words easier to remember. So using riddles regularly is a great way to grow your vocabulary without getting bored. And finally, riddles bring people together. So by solving riddles, whether your teacher or classmates, is fun and interactive, as it helps students relax, feel comfortable, and enjoy learning more. So, a riddle know is a great icebreaker for classes, and they can help build better relationships in the classroom. So, in conclusion, riddles are more than just a word puzzle, as they help us think outside the box, understand the language better, improve in math and logic, build stronger focus, learn new words, and have fun in our classroom. So, I guess that's the end of my discussion. Thank you for listening.